Hi, my loves, and welcome back to another episode in Kinship. I am Surabhi, your host, and today I am going to be talking about something that's been on my mind for such a long time. I don't think it's a controversial take at all, but you never know with these things. So, before we go anywhere today, though, I want to invite you to just slow down, to not do anything differently, but to just really notice. Notice how you're sitting, how you're moving. Just notice your breath without changing it. Notice what it's like to be listening instead of doing. Because this episode isn't about more information. It's about something that can't be downloaded. If you're listening into this, I know you love your dog. That is definitely not in question. You have chosen relationship over obedience, attunement over control. You have learned the language of nervous systems and co-regulation. You understand that behavior is in fact communication. And yet, there's a sense that you're circling something rather than actually living inside of it. You know what co-regulation is. Theoretically, you can articulate it, but you don't know how to be inside it. And so if that's you, then stay with me, because this episode is going to talk a little bit about what it means to actually step beyond the knowledge of that and actually start to embody it. Now, here's what I see most often in dog moms who come to me. You're trying to co-regulate correctly. You're tracking your dog and yourself at the same time. Is my tone soft enough? Am I breathing deeply enough? Am I grounded enough for them right now? Your attention is actually split between your dog and an internal performance review. From the outside, this looks like care, but from the inside, it feels like vigilance. Maybe your body is subtly braced. Maybe your jaw feels clenched. Maybe your shoulders don't fully drop. And that's because co-regulation has been framed as something that your dog needs from you. And because of that, it can start to feel like a test that you are actually failing in real time. So when your dog reacts again, whether that's barking or freezing or pulling or just disconnecting from you in the moment, this story turns inward. If I were more regulated, this wouldn't be happening. I must be doing co-regulation wrong. I understand and know better, but why can't I do better? And here's the thing that I want to tell you. What's actually happening isn't a lack of effort. It's that you're trying to co-regulate from your head instead of your body. You are leading with strategy and not sensation. You are leading with self-monitoring, but not self-contact. And your dog and the relational space that you share with them feels all of it. Not as safety, but as containment, as pressure, as someone trying very, very hard to hold the moment together. Co-regulation cannot happen in a body that's quietly bracing. It has to happen in a body that feels safe and steady, because that's when you can offer your dog or anyone else that you are in relationship with that same safety and steadiness. Now, Instagram is very good at naming things. It gives you language, sympathetic and parasympathetic, window of tolerance, safety cues, attunement. All of this jargon and language can be relieving It can finally feel like being seen. But here's the thing what Instagram doesn't tell you. Information does not create nervous system capacity. You cannot think your way into safety. You cannot scroll your way into embodiment. And you cannot regulate from the neck up. Most dog moms I work with are unconsciously using knowledge as a buffer. Because stepping into your body means feeling anxiety you have learned to override, grief you haven't had space for, anger that doesn't feel like it's allowed, tenderness that feels exposing. Instagram can tell you what co-regulation is, but it cannot walk with you as you feel your way into it. That requires relationship. That requires witnessing. That requires practice. But most importantly, it also requires you to disconnect from Instagram or any other platform as such, becoming a site of that relational practice. Because remember, toxic corporate colonialist systems don't want you to feel in your body. They don't want you to feel any of this anxiety, any of this grief, any of this anger, any of this tenderness. Emotions are not seen as viable and productive within these systems. And that is the same phenomenon that we see with Instagram, which is why we're seeing addiction, which is why we're seeing doom scrolling, which is why we're seeing this constant chasing of dopamine hits within that platform. And so imagine trying to teach your body how to feel safe, how to feel steady while scrolling through n number of things, ranging from perhaps content on the genocide in Gaza, to content on street dogs being abused, to shopping offers, to Christmas decorations at home, to entertainment content. Imagine the crazy kind of swings your nervous system is experiencing in that moment without actually fully feeling out any emotion that comes about. Platforms like Instagram put you in a constant cycle of up and down, in a constant cycle of, for all practical purposes, fight and flight. And there is no way that you can offer co-regulation if your nervous system is in a constant state of fight or flight. If, as you're listening, you can feel yourself recognizing these patterns, not as a problem to fix, but as something you want support with, this is exactly the space I hold inside my one-on-one relational and somatic coaching work with dog moms. My program, Attune, is where we move out of theory and into lived, embodied co-regulation together. I'll share more later, but for now, just notice what's stirring in you. Now, here's the truth that changes the conversation. Your dog is not responding to what you understand. They are responding to what your nervous system is communicating. They don't care about how much you know the theory, how much you've immersed yourself in understanding the polyvagal theory, for example. They care about, are you able to translate that into presence? Because your understanding, if that does not translate into presence, that's knowledge that's just sitting in your head. Regulation is not calmness. And again, this is something that social media platforms, particularly Instagram, continues to kind of show and throw at us. Regulation is about flexibility. It's about being able to pendulate across different states without collapsing, without feeling blocked. You can be soft-spoken and composed while your body is in quiet survival, and your dog will respond to that survival state. When you try to tell them to stay calm, and you suppress sensation, suppression does not signal safety. It signals unpredictability. Something that I often tell dog moms who work with me is, you're trying to reassure your dog in a really difficult situation, or a situation where your dog feels really emotionally charged, and you're trying to reassure your dog and it's just not landing. And that's because your nervous system can't fake its way through a situation like that. So while your words are trying to reassure your dog, how you're showing up in that moment is signaling something very, very different. And so your dog is not actually responding to your words. Your dog is responding to all of the non-verbal cues that you are communicating, sometimes even without you knowing, that is communicating to your dog that something about this does not feel predictable. Something about this does not feel safe. And so over time, you become someone who is unknowingly offering inconsistent communication to your dog. And the invitation is to think about, what does that do over a period of time to trust, to reliability, to what your dogs can expect of you in those moments. And again, I'm not saying this to place blame or to place shame. I'm just trying to throw up situations where some of these patterns play out and we don't even have awareness of those patterns playing out. And so co-regulation begins when you allow yourself to be in contact with your internal experience without abandoning the relationship. That means letting your breath move naturally. That means letting sensation exist without constantly trying to fix it or to suppress it. That is letting your dog feel you as real, not as someone who is perfect and always has it put together, but as someone who's present. That is why embodiment isn't optional. It is the medium through which co-regulation happens. Co-regulation also asks us, by the way, to recognize situations in which we are not able to co-regulate and to think about what would an alternative look like. Right? And I want to give you a really important example here. I was working with a one-on-one client recently who we were talking about her dog and her walks with her dog that were extremely dysregulating. And, she was finding them really, really difficult. And, her dog's slightly reactive. So there's a lot of barking and lunging on walks. And, very quickly into the conversation. And again, this is the work that I continue to do in Attune. And so inside the space, the conversation is not really about, okay, here are all the things that you can do to fix the situation. It's really about exploring and understanding what is the emotional and physical experience coming up for dog moms in situations like these. What is really happening at a nervous system level? And as we kind of moved through those conversations, I realized that this particular dog mom was carrying just so much baggage into her walks, right? Because, in the past, she had fallen, she had injured herself really badly. She had found herself in situations where she felt like her safety, her dog's safety was threatened. And instead of meeting those emotions, instead of really taking cognizance of the impact of those emotions on her body, she learned to suppress that. She learned to become dismissive of those experiences. But guess what? Every time that she stepped out on her walk, her body remembered. Her nervous system remembered. Walks for her were a sign of danger. Walks for her with her dog signaled survival into her system. And so no amount of theory, no amount of knowledge, no amount of following tips and, quick fixes was going to change that for her. And she tried. She really, really tried. She so desperately desired for her walks with her dogs, with her dog to be rituals of connection and joy. But her nervous system was just not there. And so when we started talking about her experience of walks, one of the things that she came in with was to saying, my vision is for me to start enjoying these walks. What we landed on was for her to enjoy connection with her dog. She needed to stop stepping out for walks with her dog because her nervous system was not ready for that experience. Her nervous system needed time. And when she was trying to push herself, when she was trying to force her body to do something that was inherently, somatically feeling dangerous, she was not in a safe space. She was not in an empowered space. She was not in a space to offer safety or steadiness to her dog. And those are all the makings of connection getting disrupted and severed. And so embodied co-regulation is extremely important. This is not something that you can hack your way through. You are going to have to do the uncomfortable and often scary work of stepping into your body and feeling all of those sensations. But it also starts very simple. It can also start very small. It can look like feeling your feet on the ground during a hard moment. It could look like noticing your chest tighten and not trying to change it. It could look like allowing an exhale to come when it's ready. You are not trying to do regulation. You are allowing regulation to emerge from your body. The question shifts from, am I doing this right? To, am I present to what is happening inside of me? And when you stay with that question, your dog feels a nervous system that is honest, that is coherent, that is predictable, that is available, and that is real. That is what safety looks like. Inside Attune, I don't teach you more theory, but I support you to build the capacity to stay embodied, responsive, and connected in real moments with your dog. It is relational, it is somatic, it is slow and deeply practical. If you are ready to stop trying to co-regulate and actually start living it, you can find the application link for Attune in the show notes. Now, what happens when you embody co-regulation? What shifts with your dog? When you stop managing your nervous system and actually start inhabiting it, your dog experiences more emotional clarity. Your dog experiences more room to settle. Repair happens faster. Trust deepens. And you begin to feel something shift inside you. Less self-criticism, more self-trust. Not because things are perfect, but because you are no longer leaving yourself in the moment. You are no longer abandoning the truth that is rising inside your body and giving you actual feedback about what you're feeling in the moment. And here's the most incredible piece. That capacity doesn't stay contained only in your relationship with your dog. Because when you learn to stay embodied through challenge with your dog, you start to stay present in conflict. You allow closeness without bracing. You hold boundaries without hardening. Co-regulation then becomes a way of relating, not a skill that you are mastering or performing. It completely changes how you love, how you listen, how you stay, and how you show up in all of your loving relationships. I want to tell you that if co-regulation has felt just out of reach, there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't failed at it and you haven't missed the lesson. You have simply reached the edge of what information can give. From here on, the work becomes slower. It becomes more embodied. It becomes more relational. It's less about doing it right. It's more about staying and witnessing. And when you start to do this work this way, your dog's going to feel it. Because, my love, your dog has not been waiting for perfection. They have been waiting for you. Here, in your body, completely and totally present and real with them.